Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Practical Drama 5549 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit and says, Am I the arsehole for telling my husband his fragile masculinity is costing us money? And the husband responds, back in late 2021, my husband Craig, male 41, and I, female 44, welcomed our fourth child into the world. As a result, we needed to upgrade one of our cars to something larger. We decided to trade in my super reliable Toyota RAV4 for something bigger, since I was the one who drove the kids around most often. I was open and ready to embrace minivan life and was planning to buy something reliable and safe, like a Honda or Kia. But Craig had his heart on an SUV. In his mind, minivans were too feminine. So, against my better judgment, we ended up purchasing a used 2018 Mercedes GLS 450, mainly due to his insistence. He argued that this car would offer similar space to the Kia/Honda minivans I wanted, but with added luxury. Since it was priced like a loaded Honda van, we went ahead with it. After 2 years, I can safely say we made the wrong choice. While the car does have good passenger space, it doesn't seem to have as much cargo room as those minivans. The reliability has been junk. The car has had 8 recalls during our ownership. Even when not recalled, it spends too much time at the dealership because something always seems to be broken. Some repairs have been covered under warranty, but we still shelled out over $9,000, maintenance not included. The car hasn't even racked up that many miles. Below are just some of the annoyances. The shifting can be rough. Sometimes I press on the gas and the car barely moves, and when it does, it's jerky. For the past few weeks, the check engine light has been turning on randomly. Numerous electronic issues. Since the car's problems have stepped up in the past few weeks, I'm beyond fed up. I don't feel safe driving it around with my kids, and I've even started getting nightmares about it stranding us in the middle of nowhere. Ray always downplays this and claims that it's normal for the car to have some issues. $9,000's worth? Fucking hell. Without maintenance, making things worse somehow. Craig's sedan has started developing issues lately. It has begun to refuse to start some mornings and will sometimes shut itself off when it comes to a stop sign or red light. On Saturday, I was supposed to drive our eldest to a soccer game and then take my younger kids to the doctor's office. When I turned on the Mercedes, it sounded very rough. The engine light was on and the temperature reading was extremely wrong. I didn't bother risking it and end up Ubering with the kids. I told Craig about it that night. He listened at first, but when I suggested selling it, he cut me off and said that he wasn't getting a van just because I wanted that. It was so combative and defensive the way he said it, and because I was so tired from the day, I lashed out. We argued and it got heated, and I ended up saying, your fragile masculinity is costing our family so much money. In retrospect, maybe my tone was harsh, but he was being needlessly difficult. I haven't really spoken much since then. I'll also be Ubering to work this week since I won't be touching that car. Am I the arsehole? Edit. For those wondering about the car condition, I've included a picture I took of it on Saturday when I started it up. The engine light is on and it was saying the temperature was -12 Fahrenheit, when it was really something like 60 Fahrenheit. Context for those wondering, this isn't the first instance of his masculinity being threatened by something minor. He also refuses lip balm and purple dress shirts, among other things. $9,000 and it's still causing issues. You need to get rid of that shit. I'm not talking about the husband there, although, that's up to you. And I can understand your frustration in this, that, you want something that's reliable, that can carry your children safely, and this vehicle is just not it. So I can understand why you're getting pissed off about it. I kind of read part of it when you said about his car's been developing issues lately, so maybe he's looking at something for himself, swapping his car in at some point down the road. Obviously, I don't know that. But Tammy says, I don't get it. You're the primary user of the proposed car and he has his own. Even if you give in and call the car womanly, what's his insistence that his wife, presumably a woman, doesn't drive it? Opie says, we go on road trips and he usually drives. Also, he'll sometimes use it to take the kids to school and their other activities. And he doesn't want anyone confusing him with a soccer mum. It sounds so childish when I write it out and read it back to myself. Good Girl says, so he's worried that someone will look at him and thinks he has a girly car. Damn, he's a tool. Oh, I love it when people say he's a tool. Hungry Traveler says, I don't know. A dad in a minivan with his wife and kids is clearly a virgin. Yavana says, my first date with my now husband. I asked him what vehicle he drove. He looked embarrassed and pointed out the window to a van. I excitedly asked if it was a Pontiac Montana, as I had fond memories of my old Montana. It was. He took me to see it, and on the dash was a stack of coupons. I knew in that moment that this man was the one I was going to marry. The van and coupons were a major turn on. What? After this recording, I'm going to be coupon cutting and putting them in my front pocket when walking around town. Lofty Chicago says, I had an ex who made fun of me for using coupons until he saw how much I saved on one shopping trip. Then he was all, dang, now I know why you're rich. Well, richer than him. Off topic here, but just on the coupon thing. I know we do some coupons in the UK, like our local supermarkets, like do the Tesco's vouchers and stuff like that. I remember watching a program, there's some years back now, like called Extreme Couponers or something. And, you know, some people have like folders of these things and they're going through them. But their whole shopping, like, let's just say, for example, like it's $150 for all their shopping and they get it down to like $15 with all these coupons. And I'm like, what? Is this a common thing? And it was mainly based in America. You have to let me know on that one because I find that fascinating. So like they always say, there's two sides to every story. Husband comes in with their own post and says, my wife showed me the post she made this morning so that I could see how people were reacting to her perspective. I was honestly quite surprised by the comments. So I asked her if I could make a follow-up post to clarify my position. Firstly, I want to emphasize that I did not buy a lemon. I've never heard that before, as some people seem to think. We had the car inspected by a mechanic before purchasing it, and the Carfax report we obtained was clean. I understood that my wife, let's call her Ava, would be the primary driver, but I wanted a car with some ground clearance and all-wheel drive since we sometimes drive along dirt roads when we go on vacation, and renting a car for these instances didn't seem practical. In my mind, this requirement ruled out the Honda or Kia minivans. Additionally, I feel that a minivan is unnecessary for us as we only have 4 children. I'll admit that I have a personal bias against minivans because they are exclusively mum cars. Mercedes, on the other hand, has been expensive to repair and does experience frequent problems. But when it is fully operational, it's an excellent family cruiser. I understand that it's unreliable, but I think the idea of it stranding my family in the middle of nowhere is a stretch. Now, on to the day of the argument. I was at work on Saturday, so I was unable to take the kids to their activities and appointments. When Ava sent me a picture of the gauge cluster of the Mercedes, I did offer to come back home and drop off my car for her to use, but she declined for 2 reasons. Firstly, she didn't think it would have enough space. It's a 2017 Chevy Impala, so it has a lot of space. And secondly, she was worried due to a minor stalling issue. At that point, we agreed that using an Uber was the best solution. Saturday night, I arrived home exhausted from work at the hospital. All I wanted to do was eat dinner and catch up on the Spurs match. The argument happened around this point. I did try to be supportive, however, I still hold reservations about owning a minivan, and I felt that her comment about masculinity was both unhelpful and unnecessary. Call it poetic justice if you will, but this morning when I was getting ready to take the kids to school and daycare, my Impala wouldn't start at all. Now we have 2 broken cars and the entire family is relying on Uber. It can't be the battery or alternator since both were replaced within the last year, so I haven't got a clue what it is. I've accepted my wife's point of view and we'll be looking at new car options later this week. She is very pleased about this and has mentioned that she considers this acceptance as an alternative to an apology from me. However, now she wants us to replace both cars. As for the lip balm and the purple shirt, my opinion is that most lip balms look too much like lipstick and I don't find them hygienic since you essentially rub your old germs back on every time you use them. Ah, brother. The shirt in question was more pink than purple, and more than that, it was far too tight for my liking. I hope this clarifies things and provides a better understanding of our situation. Edit, for those wondering, my wife isn't paying for repairs on her own. We take the repair bills out of our joint account. So, I have to let you know that that one was pretty much downvoted. But the comments with this, I'll cover a couple of them because I've got another update as well. First one says from We Eat a Train, who says, "Get over your feelings, get safe vehicles, be a good parent and partner, and take care of your kids and wife." Can You Be Honest says, "He only has 4 kids, so a minivan isn't needed. That might be the dumbest backwards argument I've ever seen. Also, it's a mum car. I get why he feels that way. This dude is just an insecure loser that thinks his car says something about him that he can't project on his own. I wish women would quit having sex with guys like this. You're ruining the world." So the final update comes in and says, "Craig and I were able to put the issue regarding the Mercedes behind us, and for the past week we've been working towards finding a replacement. He was still leaning towards an SUV, and while I considered his opinion, it was ultimately my decision to make. After shopping around a few days, we purchased this lovely black minivan on Friday. In the short time we've owned it, I can confidently say it surpasses our Mercedes in essentially every way. The comfort is superior, the technology is better, but most importantly, it accommodates the whole family and all our belongings with space to spare. Beyond that, I feel safe transporting my children or just running errands." Craig also admitted that the minivan was a better choice. He's read many of the responses from previous posts and acknowledged that wanting an SUV, despite the current size of our family, was a bit impractical. He's even opened up to potentially using lip balm. However, the purple shirt I liked is still a no, since he thinks it's too snug-fitting and more pink than purple. He's been in a good mood since Arsenal lost or something, which I guess partially explains his newfound agreeableness. For those outside the UK who's not into football/soccer, Arsenal had the potential to win the Premier League, the top league in the UK, but they came second. And Arsenal is a rival to his favourite team, Tottenham Hotspur, and it would have been Banterville for him if Arsenal won. OP continued, "Currently, we only have the one working van. We'll be taking the Mercedes into the garage at some point in the future, and then hopefully selling it shortly after. We plan to take the Mercedes to the garage in the near future and hopefully sell it soon after. Additionally, Craig's personal car will also need some repairs." And then there's a couple of comments. So Mecha Mogzilla says, "Imagine only being open to change because one group of people kick the ball better than another, instead of, to be a better person." Hater MA says, "Sometimes the balls get in the way." And Airy Apprehensive says, "Just for the Arsenal comment, he's an arsehole." It was the update that was tickling me, where he starts off saying, "I didn't buy a lemon," which I do enjoy that line. That's quite nice. I might have to call things a lemon in the future. But he goes, "I didn't buy a lemon." Yeah, you did buy a lemon. This car's cost you $9,000 in 2 years without maintenance. You absolutely bought the sourest lemon out there. And just like the vivid image it gave me with this guy in lip balm, like he just avoids it, like he side eyes it as he walks past and goes, "Ugh, get away from me." Oh, dearie me. Anyway, what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, before we do get into this next story, it's an older story, one that I haven't covered in the past, but was suggested to me. And I'm going to warn you again, if you're eating, you may want to stop, you may want to skip the story. Stop right there. We're going to be talking about some poo within this story and a habit around that. So this story is from What to Do Bedroom from the Relationship Advice subreddit. Does have an update as well. It's flagged actual shitpost. It's titled, "I 28 think my girlfriend 26 has been using my gym socks to wipe after going to the bathroom." Oof. Throw away because reasons. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm dumbfounded. She just stormed out the house and I'm sitting on the bed asking myself a lot of questions. I live a pretty normal life and I thought so did my girlfriend. We've been together for a few months and after things got serious, we moved in together. We started sharing a lot of the household responsibilities, but the one thing she was adamant on doing was the laundry. She would come home and find me in the bedroom getting the laundry together and would quickly ask me to go do something else. I'd come back to finish the laundry and she would have already started it. I always thought it was sweet and never her job to do it alone, but hey, if that makes her happy to do it all the time, I wouldn't stop her. This is where it takes a turn for the weird. I keep all my socks and underwear in the bottom drawer of my dresser. I also go to the gym frequently, so I always keep a good supply of clean gym socks ready to go. I never kept count, but I know, by just a visual glance, I have several pairs. This morning when I grabbed a fresh pair to pack for the gym, I noticed that there were several dress socks, but no gym socks. Again, not weird, they must have been in the laundry. I went to check the laundry basket and it was empty. I checked the washing machine and dryer, both were empty. I couldn't figure out where all my gym socks had gone. So I did the very natural thing of asking my girlfriend what had happened to them. After all, she is the one who does the laundry all the time. She was silent, turned red, and ran out the room. When I went after her to see if she was okay, she wouldn't talk to me. I told her I wasn't mad, I was just looking for my socks. She kinda mumbled, "I don't know." I still wasn't mad, of course, but I was super confused. Socks just don't disappear, unless they go in the tumble dryer. So I asked her again, even laughed about it, then she just looked at me and got mad and said, "I'll buy you new ones." The first thought that went through my head was she had somehow managed to destroy my socks while washing them. I thought the sight of that was actually pretty funny, so I joked with her about ruining my socks. Wrong thing to say. She started immediately crying, like full on sobbing. At this point, I don't care about the socks anymore. I want to know what's wrong with my girlfriend. I sat down next to her on the bed and put my arm around her and asked her if she was okay. She just kept saying she was sorry and that she would buy me new socks. I tried assuring her again that it was okay, even went so far to say I would buy new socks, and she didn't have to. I sat with her for a few minutes trying to calm her down and eventually had to get ready for work. I told her I loved her and got my things together to leave for the day. On my way out, I grabbed the garbage to take outside. When I got outside, I lifted the lid off the garbage can and I noticed a small plastic bag sitting on top of the garbage already in there. I could see through the bag, kind of the semi-see-through ones. There were socks in the bag. Since I was sure she had somehow managed to ruin the socks washing them, I wanted to see for myself. I opened the bag and immediately regretted my choice. There inside the bag were several pairs of my gym socks covered in what looked like poop. As soon as the smell hit me, I knew it was poop. 1. We don't own any pets. 2. We don't have any kids. 3. Whose poop was on my socks? Work could wait. I couldn't go the rest of the day wondering why my gym socks were covered in poop and inside a plastic bag in the garbage can. I grabbed the bag and walked back inside. As soon as my girlfriend saw the bag, she flipped out and started yelling at me. She said I shouldn't be going through the garbage and I was disgusting for bringing it back into the house. I asked her to calm down and that I just wanted an answer as to why there was poop on my socks. I wasn't blaming her of anything, but she started accusing me of blaming her. That's when it clicked. I don't know what it was that led me to ask this, but everything leading up to this moment had just been so crazy. I asked her, "Is this your poop?" She started sobbing again and ran out the house. I didn't go after her this time. So now I'm sitting on the bed with a bag of poopy socks on the floor and a lot of questions in my head. The only conclusion is that she used them after going to the bathroom, which that alone has its own set of questions above everything else. I sent a text asking her to come back. She hasn't responded yet. I don't even know what I'm going to say when or if she gets back. So the update was in the same post. So we're just going to get an overview of the comments. Ones that get a fucking bidet, or is it a bidet? Bidet? Some people suggesting possible fetish. Others suggesting a possible anxiety issue around going to the toilet. Many others just going, what the fuck? OP comes in with her update and says, I had to leave for work and I'm now at work. Yes, I threw away the bag of poopy socks. She texts me back saying she's clearly embarrassed but felt she owed me an explanation. She said she didn't want to talk about it in person and that we could discuss it over texting and to not bring it up in person. I'm condensing the conversation and filling in some gaps as best as I can. Her responses are super short, but I'm getting the idea. I flat out asked her if it was a fetish. It is not a fetish. She continued to use the socks after going to the bathroom. I found the reason she always does the laundry is because she was hiding the fact that she uses socks to wipe with, primarily her own. I had no reason to question the amount of socks she ever has, because who pays attention to that kind of thing? She thought I would notice and think it was weird, since she doesn't own many socks. She admitted she has done this for a long time. Her reasoning, as best as I can understand, is that because she is a germaphobe, her words, and she is afraid toilet paper will tear and is afraid of getting her hands messy in any way. She uses socks because it covers her entire hand. After she's done with them, she throws them away. She used mine because she didn't have other socks. So my girlfriend has a fear of getting poop on her hands, so she wipes with socks, and has done so for a long time. It could be worse, I guess. Hope we can laugh about this later. I'm trying to find the humor in it now, but I'm still weirded out. What? That left me with more questions more than anything. The logistics of this. I hadn't thought about how she was wiping till she said it covers her whole hand, so she literally puts the whole sock over her hand like a glove, because she doesn't want to get mess on her hands. But socks got like tiny little holes in them, right? If you stretch a sock, it's got tiny little holes in it, right? So it's not like a rubber glove. And I was thinking, that was the last update on that post. At some point, although they're texting and talking about this, they got to come face to face. How would you just never bring that up again? Is she going to continue doing this? Obviously, there's the option of getting the bidet or bidet. But someone was talking about their younger sister and the whole anxiety thing again, and said, my younger sister has anxiety disorder and has a lot of issues around poop. She was also diagnosed with OCD, but it was considered secondary to the anxiety. Specifically, she was worried she would shit herself in public or in the car during a ride somewhere. It got so bad at one point that she wouldn't leave the house for fear of pooping her pants and embarrassing herself. After she got treatment for anxiety, these issues went away. Your girlfriend's issues is more about the germs on the surface, but you may want to look up symptoms of OCD and keep an eye on her in case she needs treatment. I remember when I was in year 5 and, sorry about talking about poop, but you had your warning at the beginning. And I was going to the toilet in school and doing my business, and I just remember sitting there. I could hear something going on, and I looked up while I was sat in this cubicle, and there was a year 8 staring at me as I was going to the toilet. And he just carried on staring for about 5 seconds and then just ran. Sounds really weird, but that messed me up for quite a while after. I wasn't able to go in like public spaces anymore because I was always worried that, something similar might happen again. I can still picture that moment vividly, and I can remember reporting. I remember the guy's name as well. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I just remember it like still stuck in my head, still being able to picture this dude. Not as bad anymore, but it's weird how one event like that can, change things for you so dramatically. And obviously I'm not saying this for OP, but just relating to that last comment there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, for getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.